as progress continues with artificial intelligence, machine learning, or predictive analytics, we understand that this is a key driver towards data management efficiency. However, we understood in the past that you may have been wary about seeing this as a full solution to current problems. Has your position changed, or if not, could you elaborate and help us understand your position on the benefits and maybe the challenges related to artificial intelligence and machine learning?
Well, Robert, I think hesitancy not so much because of the value proposition of artificial intelligence and machine learning, but just going back to what I said previously regarding law enforcement. I mean, law enforcement is a human-to-human endeavor, and it's important to have the accurate data and the information for that chain of evidence. And ensuring that you know where the data come from. You really need to know your data. Where did it come from? How is it being controlled? How is it being protected and used? Being mindful of the potential for bias to be incorporated. And with artificial intelligence, it's your data, the algorithms you're developing, being mindful of the potential for bias and the need to ensure that that's factored into the activities that you're doing in these areas of artificial intelligence, and ethics comes into big play too, and that's again related to the bias, to the needs for using the right kind of data. So I think as we're looking at the advancing in these types of technologies and the benefits that artificial intelligence has as far as being able to sift through just a vast amount of data. I mean, they say that the world data doubles every 2 years, and it's more and more a challenge to make sure you can get that needle in the haystack. And sometimes that needle is something that's part of a very complex investigation. You look at some of the investigations in the past, the Boston Marathon bombings and such, where just sifting through so much information and trying to get the necessary data that's going to answer the investigation and lead to prosecutions is so important. And that's where these types of technologies can help us sift through the data. But again, it's important. You need to know your data, you need to know where you're getting it, and then you need to know how you're developing these tools to ensure that you don't factor in some of the areas that would question the ethics of the use of these tools.
Yeah, human bias and ethics are huge discussions, perhaps for another time. But let me ask the last question here, which is interesting because we haven't really talked about it because it's a point in time, but it's talking about we've all experienced dramatic changes and challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And we understood that the department had to evolve to cope with the remote home offices. How did that work? And do you see people now starting to come back to the offices once they've been vaccinated?
Well, Robert, I think with what we've experienced with the remote teleworking through the COVID-19, we were able to pivot and to move into this operational mode just literally at day one. For my office, we noted over 25% productivity and the improvement in addressing a number of the activities that we have to perform in the Office of Information Governance and Privacy. As far as I cannot say enough, my compliments to the chief information officers across DHS, the CIO at DHS, our CIO, Michelle Henderson, and the team for what they've done to allow us to have the ability to have sessions such as we're having right now, the ability to share information, access our data from home. ICE was actually working on what we call the Workplace Transformation Initiative even before COVID-19 to look at innovative ways where we work, how we work, the resources, looking at some innovative approaches to reduce the requirements for actual physical spaces and be able to possibly increase the use of remote work. Now there's some applications that don't lend themselves to that type of remote work, and you have to actually be part of and be in a facility. But a number of mission areas being able to be done remotely, whether it be at home or at other locations. As far as where we see we're going, I mean, right now, of course, vaccination's ongoing. In my office, for example, we're looking at what are the mission areas, what are some of the locations that are going to lend themselves to the type of work we're doing versus telework. So I think the paradigm has changed significantly. All the papers and the reports that were done years ago about how does telework address the efficiencies and the operations of an organization. I mean, there are unfortunate aspects of it where you're not able to have the personal interaction, which is so vital in many cases, just to work collaboratively. Sometimes you need to have that face-to-face presence working together. But I think we've got the tools out there that have helped to address a number of the challenges with telework. I see that still being something that is going to be in our society now. I know companies are looking at that, as well as the federal government, on what are some ways to improve efficiencies, to save costs, and also to improve the work-life balance, the ability to actually spend more time with family and friends, but still doing the work, and in some cases spending less time on the road even to commute.
Wow, 25% productivity, obviously positives and negatives. I fully agree with that. Well, Ken, there are many more topics that I think you've just touched on briefly. But first of all, we'd like to thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. We hope that we can get the chance to talk about some of these specific details in the details. So on behalf of CDO Magazine, thank you for your participation today.
And Robert, it was a pleasure being here, and thanks to you, and thanks to CDO Magazine as well.
Many thanks indeed. And for our listeners, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.